Now, the Stairway to Heaven map is a consolidation of the many pages of maps that were featured in the Dance for Love text, which showed each of these little pieces large as an 8.5 by 11 page. This is literally reducing them all down on the photocopier and sticking them together in their sequence. This is actually the top, all right? These are the mathematical formulations upon which the hologram of manifestation, kind of cosmic level, is formed. This is the top. If you were going down the stairway, down into experience and matter density, you would start up here in what's called the Akasha Aya, highest God worlds, and you would move down through these sets of gate systems that are connected to reality fields, all the way down through until you got down into what's called density 1. Now, I explain this really quickly going up because it's a little easier to understand where you start where you are and then work your way up. If this little Kathara grid down here, remember that those 12 little dots on the Kathara centers, on a universal level, they represent stargates in our 15-dimensional time matrix, the first 12 stargates. We are down here in what's called density 1 with stargates 1, 2, and 3. So we're way down here in this little reality bubble down here. Each set of 3 stargates forms a harmonic universe, which is like a bubble of energy that has a universe, a galaxy, and lots of planets and beings and things manifested within it. So we're in density 1 in this particular set of 12 stargates. Here's our stargates 13, 14, and 15 out here at a 90-degree angle. This is our primal field, our primal light and sound field. Now, if we're down here, there's this whole process where here is part of something much larger. It's not just a set of 12 stargates. That's just in our 12 dimensions, our 15-dimensional matrix. Our 13, 14, and 15 stargates are our primal light field stargates. And then there's primal sound field stargates. It's all bubbles within bubbles, bubbles of energy. Imagine bubbles of energy. All right. So we're in these bubbles of energy down here. Now that is part of this larger thing. Here's this, right? Our 12 stargates. Here's our primal light and sound stargates over here. Look at these other 2 things. This is the parallel system, our direct parallel system. It's 12 stargates and its primal light gates. 90-degree angle shift between each of them. At the center, and this is called, the 4 of these together are called a universal Veka. It's 2 15-dimensional time matrices put together. And at their center, and out of which they form, there's something called the inner Eka universe. Now, with the gates, the way the gates are lined up, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 12 here. 12, and what would be 13, coming off into this 13, 14, and 15, they intersect at the center point. The parallel ones intersect, all intersect at the inner Eka. It's like the yoke from which the egg of creation on a universal level forms. So when you see this, that's the symbol of a Veka universe, a universal Veka, and that implies that there are 2 15-dimensional matrices, one 15-dimensional time matrix and its parallel component. Now, if you're manifest down here, it implies you have a self, a parallel self, over in the other parallel system as well. We have 1,700 minimum. This is a 12-strand human. We have 1,728 different manifestations of self simultaneously in the time matrix at the same time. Half over here and half in its parallel, reciprocal. So your cells are all alive right now. They're all hanging out in different space-time zones, just like you are one of them here in your space-time zone. You have a double over in the parallel system. The things that we've talked about a little bit about the phantom matrix black hole system, that is an anomaly. That is not something that was naturally occurring as part of the mathematical structure upon which Source creates the universe. It was something that goes under the law of allowance, that it was allowed to happen in order that Source knew that it was a healing, that there would be a healing at the end of the experiment in learning that this apparently negative phenomenon would occur from. Before we can understand where the black hole is, we first need to understand our basics. If we can understand these as maps, when they're laid out this way, they are mathematical coordinate points, not just within a 3-dimensional system, but that literally show the relationships between the 5 density levels of matter in one 15-dimensional matrix, its primal light and sound fields over here, and then its parallel as well. The parallel 12 dimensions, parallel 13, 14, and 15, and the primal parallel light and sound fields. So that universal Veka is the beginning of understanding the map. Like, where do you go next if you're going to ascend? If you're going to be a person who does ascension, it helps to know ascension is moving through stargates, and it helps to know the map. Because it's like saying, oh good, I get to go to California, but you're in, like, say, Oklahoma, and you have no map at all that tells you how to get to California, nor where anything is once you're in California. Without the Eka maps of the God World gates, anybody that's ascending hasn't a clue what they're really doing. They don't know where they're going, because there are maps to these places, and these are the maps. So that's the universal Veka. That would give us the ability to move through 5 densities of matter, 15 dimensions, and the primal light and sound fields, but only within our universal Veka and the parallel system. All right. The next level up would be over here. Okay? Now, here's the cross thing again. But notice there's a whole gate system, a larger one. There's like a crystal that forms outside of this. This is another Kathara grid, right? Another 12-pointed Kathara grid. This universal Veka system is part, and literally exists within inside, what is called the Akasha, the universal Akasha. It's called the middle God world. All right. Now remember, at the center of this, you have the Eka system, the inner world. That's where you hear inner Earth. Well, inner Earth is Earth's counterpart, not in our densities down here, but in this central inner system. To get from our systems and our Veka into the next level up, which are considered the middle God worlds, you have to pass through what are called the lower God worlds of the inner Eka. In frequency, if you look at it as a stairway to heaven, in frequency, incrementally stepping up in frequency, higher frequency, higher frequency, higher frequency, and progressively merging of polarity consciousness, less and less polarized consciousness the higher up you go. All right. We have to go through our systems down here. If we're way down here, where stargates 1, 2, and 3 are, we have to be able to pass through our 12-dimensional stargates, right? Integrate, which means pass through, all of our primal light field, and able to go back to the center and pop up in the inner Eka worlds. That would be our first stop. This is where the lowest level of the Iani are able to communicate with us from. This is where they're actually helping to control the Templar in this universe so it doesn't completely fall into the black hole system. This inner part actually goes all the way up, and there's like an inner correspondent to every set of these that you'll see on each level of the stairway. Excuse me. So we have stairway 1, the lowest level, are the Veka universal systems. Next are the Eka systems at the center. They go up to the Akasha level, which is, here's the center, the Eka's in here, right? Here's our 12 dimensions and our primal light field here and our parallel there. And there's this other set of gates, 12 gates here, and 12 implies there's a primal field that goes with it, right? So you see this crystal here, that's the Akasha level, that's the next step, middle God worlds. These also form that 4 cross thing. This one whole set thing here connects to another set of 4. Alright, so this is called the Akasha Aya, that has an Akasha inside of it. Inside the Akasha you have the universal Veka, and inside the Veka you have our 12 dimensions or 12 stargates. So progressively, think of progressive expansion of frequency, raising of frequency, and expansion, one bubble opening up to the next, and a bigger reality field emerges. If you're in a holographic bubble and your hologram's really small right now, like just Earth, right? Then it will expand, and there will be more to what Earth looks like. And there will be more, and you expand into your universe, and you'll find that there's things out there that they've been there all along. You just didn't hold the frequency through which you could perceive them. So as we activate our flame bodies, we're progressively activating the mathematical codes that allow us to open each level of frequency in our shields to bring that part of ourselves back. Because in order to get down here, anything that's down here had to pass through this whole series. So there's a part of us left at every station of consciousness. So as we work with the codes, we're bringing back in not only the ability to go back to those levels of expansion, but we are merging that part of our consciousness with us down here. It's like bringing the part of us that's running around up here, actually down in the body here. We're literally becoming, compared to what they call human on Earth, superhuman, you know? And it's the original angelic human and indigo imprints. Now, when you go up higher in the systems, you go up from the Vekas to the Eka, to the Akasha Aya. In the Akasha Aya worlds, at the center, of the Akasha Ea worlds. And remember, those little Eka things form at the centers of each. So you have the Eka core, the lowest one is here, but there's a core that forms at each grouping of 4. So you have another stage in the Eka, and then another stage. And the final stage, this is the first manifestation worlds of creation, the first God worlds that were, if you're looking at what was created first and the others took place within it, this is the first mathematical imprint. You have what's called the Christos, which is the first Kathara grid, and the Kristalla, which is the little Kathara grid that's in here. That is the same as the first 2 12-point Kathara grids that were formed as the imprint by which the entire cosmos was structured. Within those, you have what are called the Rushe, or the God Seed Core, which are the 12 Rushe pillars, which are the first standing pillars of consciousness of God that agree to hold those forms of pillars of energy that allow and feed the rest of the systems that expand and grow within them. When we talk about the scepter pillars, these are the 12 Rushe scepter pillars. These are the levels that we'll be given the codes now to begin activating in our own personal shields. Now, planets have this whole imprint applies to planets, persons, planets, galaxies, universes. This is the core mathematical program of cosmic structure, and it creates very literal, tangible things, which are coordinate points mathematically that operate as stargates or energy pass-through points between the areas. These are called collectively the Eka maps of the God World Gates. It tells you not only how to ascend to the next density. See, it's really funny. A lot of the Ascension teachings are out there. If you don't realize what Ascension is, all right, the big picture, anybody can tell you anything's Ascension. Oh yeah, you say these holy names 5 times and you do it. Well, what is it? You disappear from here. Yeah, where do I go? With God. What God is that? You know, they don't answer those little questions off to the side. What most of them are teaching you to do is to get to the next density level, density 2, in reverse, which will put you in around the D5 frequency bands in the black hole system. They're not teaching you that, and most of the teachers down here don't know that either, because who they're channeling and listening to aren't telling them, because they're hiding some stuff. So you don't blame the teachers here that are teaching it. They're teaching what they're being taught. What they're not doing is checking out the resume of who's teaching them. Just because it's interdimensional, they think it means because it's higher, it's better. Because it's not here, that means it knows more than I do, and it has good intentions. So the teachers mostly here that have gotten involved with teaching twisted ascension teachings, most of them aren't doing it out of malice or out of consciously wanting to serve a negative agenda. Most honestly think that that is the highest level of teaching. When they see this stuff, that's when one of 3 things will happen. The first one I've never seen yet. Or one will say, oh my God, that's it. Oh, I can feel it. Oh wow, they were tricking me, weren't they? Ooh, all right. You know, I want to learn this stuff. And they try to connect with guardians. No, I've not seen that reaction yet.